Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
Did you, if you kept up with any of the stuff of the writer strike? Have you seen any of that stuff where the writers in Hollywood are on strike? And I don't know. I haven't, because I don't care about these people, so I don't really know anything. Like, I don't know what they're on strike for. If it's like better conditions or more money or more baby blood, whatever the Hollywood people are into. Yeah. But they're on strike, which means a lot of your primetime late night shows were off air because the writers are on strike and they're standing in solidarity with them. And so that means that everyone has to come here to get their fix. Yeah.
This is where it's at. Mm-hmm.
It being whatever it is you were looking for.
It's here.
It's here. Guys, welcome back for another episode of It's Too Late. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by the #1 producer in late night. It's Dave Willimowski. Dave! How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
We got like a plague going through our house, but
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm afraid because I feel like I've been untouched so far.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I had a little sore throat, so I'm calling it that, and my immune system's too strong, and this environment is too toxic for anything to stick.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, that's right. So if you just have one of everything, then it's like how don't they say like the color white is like all the colors combined?
Oh,
like,
here we go.
Like yeah. But no, it's not one of those. We'll get to that in the next segment. But no, it's like if you just have one of everything, then you're just the Omega virus, and nothing else can touch you.
I am the virus. Yeah.
Yeah. The downside though is that if you were to cure even one of your illnesses, you would drop dead. Yeah. They're in perfect
chain reaction.
Yes, they're in perfect balance right now. All because it's like a Mexican standoff. All the other diseases are looking at each other,
If one pulls the trigger.
Yeah. and then you zoom out from your immune system, and there's just you work. Just none the wiser. Yeah. Just there you are, just drinking your coffee, drinking your Fox and Sons.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the only reason you're alive right there. Needed to give everybody an update on this Taco Bell tier list thing. So for people who have kept up with the show, and for those who haven't, you're going to get some lore. So Dave and I, months ago now at this point, were fishing up new ideas for tier lists, and someone had said you should do a Taco Bell tier list. You do like one of the base items off of the menu. No, not combos and stuff and drinks and all that crap. Just one of each primary item on the menu, and you do a tier list. And of course, Dave, being a true American, said, well, I'm not going to nibble on one and then set that aside. No. Because waste not, want not is what they say in the Wilimowski household. We're going to eat the whole thing. But we figured that it's going to take $250 for Dave and I to go to Taco Bell, order one of each, and come home and kill ourselves. But big news, we're at 50 right now. As of today, we've hit 50. So someone came along and said, hey, are you guys still doing that? And I was like, well, yeah, but we're not doing it until we raise the money. They're like, okay, well, I'll put in 50. So we are 1/5 of the way to the Taco Bell tier list. So Chalupa Fest 2023, says Tim. So if we raise $200 on tonight's show, we will do the Taco Bell tier list.
Yes, I'm eagerly anticipating.
I'm telling you, this is it. This is what's going to put us over the top, Dave.
Our moment.
Like we've been throwing stuff at the wall, just seeing what'll stick, but this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was driving back home from work today, and like I'm a pretty cautious driver. I was driving down a neighborhood street. It's only like 20 mile an hour speed limit, and there was a big moving truck on the side of the road. And that's fine. There was plenty of space for me to get around, but there's no visibility, right? And so there I am kind of creeping along the side of the truck. And it's a good thing I was too, because right at that moment, you know what comes out in front of the truck? Right in front of my car? It's a little kid.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like a 5-year-old boy comes. I mean, like his face is looking at my headlight. And I stop. I do a little bert, and I'm like, you gonna, like, I think I have the right of way, but are you gonna, And so he does the typical deer thing, right? Where he doesn't go and he doesn't leave. He just. And so finally, in the time, it goes long enough. It's one of those things where it feels like it's a really long time. It probably really wasn't. It goes long enough that I'm like, well, I'm going to roll down my window and be like, hey, And finally, then I see like mom come out and, grab him and like wave and carry him back to the house or whatever. I think they were moving into this house. Imagine you move into a new house. The first thing that happens, your kid gets hit in the road.
Wow. Yeah.
So I got to tell you, like, after that whole ordeal, I was, it was such a weight off my shoulders, because it would have been such a pain to have to dump his body in the river. Actually, no. The Duck River is only like a mile down the road. I think it'd have been all right.
Yeah, it's a small chore.
Yep. So anyway, starting off in the news tonight, the nation has been enthralled by this woman on an American Airlines flight from Dallas, Fort Worth to Orlando, who demanded to be let off the plane after claiming that a fellow passenger was some kind of lizard person. Here, take a look at this clip.
I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Okay. All right.
Exciting.
Yeah, so so first of all, that's quite the meltdown. But I want to can we take a look at her again here really quick? So after that, we're left with more questions than answers. Chiefly among them, is she single? Like,
fix her. Or does she even need fixed?
You know what? Maybe she could fix me.
Yeah.
she's the one, Dave. But as of this reporting, this is what's so weird about the internet. Every single time anything happens anywhere on planet Earth, if someone catches 5 seconds of you on their cell phone camera, in 5 minutes you go on the internet, they know your whole life, right? Like everyone's tweeting at you, eat shit and die, Dave Willimowski. Like everyone already knows who you are because you were on someone's cell phone. Somehow they have not identified this lovely princess yet. I cannot figure out how it is they haven't identified her. But apparently they have identified the passenger that she was calling out on the plane. Here's the picture right here. Yep. Yeah, that actually is a lizard person.
He is.
That's an impressive neck.
Yeah, it's like it goes right to his forehead.
Yeah. She is kind of hot though. And finally this evening, speaking of not being kind of hot, the Miss Universe pageant is right around the corner, and nations around the globe are selecting their entrants for the international contest. The Netherlands has decided upon their champion, and the winner is, drumroll please, that's right, it's trans model and actor Ricky Valerie Cole, the mentally ill male model who will be the second openly transgender contestant to compete for the title of Miss Universe. If you're wondering just how retarded and gay the Dutch are, I want you to take a look at the side-by-side comparison of Rick and the runner-up that lost to Rick. Yeah, go ahead and try that again, Dave. Yeah.
What happened there? Wow. I said maybe she just looks better because she's next to that horse.
This is true. Yeah. I thought that they had better teeth over there nowadays. Or is that still a thing? I mean, the one on the right does.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Now I'm torn between the Netherlands runner-up and the
lizard lady.
The lizard lady, yeah.
The lizard identifying lady. That'd be handy.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you what would have fixed that lady is if they should have just sat her down. Of course, this is young men, my young guys who are watching the show. Here's a little advice from Uncle Alan. Tell your lady, hey, calm down.
That usually does the trick.
Women are in fact demented. They are dangerous people.
And then try some Fox & Sons coffee, which you can find at foxandsons.com if you use promo code It's Too Late. Or excuse me, ITL. Oh my God, it's not It's Too Late, it's ITL. You receive 18% off orders of $25 or more. Shipping is always free on orders of $37.99 or more. That's foxandsons.com. I've actually got right there in the middle of the picture the Electric Boogaloo. Can we get a...
I love that name.
Yeah. I'm going to try to do my best impression of Rick.
There you go.
Yeah, I could be Miss Universe. I could do it. You know what's crazy is that she's not even the first one. She's the second man to be entered into the Miss Universe pageant.
We're good at everything we do.
Damn, aren't we though?
Yeah.
Yeah, look
Take
at
it home.
us. Yeah.
Let me show you how this is done.
I try so hard to cue you to hit a button, and it just goes. Shoo. But now it's too late to hit it. Yeah, don't hit it now. I swear to God, if you do. Here, Dave, I'll do it.
Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
I feel like if you watched the show, then like this would be
I can
more.
either watch the show or I can produce it. I can't do both.
How do you? Okay. You, mister, are getting a talking to during the commercial break, which is happening right now. Guys, don't go away. We'll be right back with the meme of the week and the viewer mail right after this break. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Hey, Dave.
Yes, Alan.
What time is it?
It's time for meme of the week.
Let's rape possums. Let's cram earthworms up our rear.
Yeah, don't hang out with that kid.
Yeah. See, this is why they don't let kids just go out and play anymore, you know? Like, that's why, right there.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, at least they're outside.
But we do have a bonus meme. Check out the bonus meme.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, wait, no! Oh, come on!
Oh man, I've been seeing a lot of this lately of people like, you know, longing for yesteryear, but it's because they don't really remember yesteryear.
Oh.
Yeah, I've said this every single time you see an opinion poll where people say, "Do you wish you could go back to this time?" and people always like, "Oh yeah, definitely." No, you don't. Are you kidding me? Back then, there's no car mechanic simulator, Dave. Like,
No.
so that's it. No to the time machine. No, thank you. Especially if you're a minority, you ain't going nowhere.
No, that's not. This is pretty good right now.
Yeah. Actually, come to think of it, maybe we should go back.
Wow.
A good time to start something new, boy. That I feel like that's relevant to what we were discussing in the pre-show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your numbers are 11, 25, 38, 45, 18, and 54.
38. That's my favorite one.
38 38's your favorite one. That's what age I'm going to be in September.
You're not even 40 yet?
No.
Oh.
I've diagnosed what that means though. It's all right. It's all right. You first. That's all I'm saying. Hey, let's go ahead and answer some viewer mail. Ooh. Yeah. That sound. Damn. That motherfucker right there is not real. I love her. I like her more every time I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Patricia Marie writes, Dear Alan and Dave, have you watched The Sound of Freedom yet? I haven't watched The Sound of Freedom yet, but apparently we need to watch it because all the pedophiles and rapists say that you shouldn't watch it because it gives a bad name to pedophiles and rapists.
Yeah, they don't understand why you would do that.
Yeah, a bad name. That's what's giving them a bad name. The movie. That's what's doing it.
Yeah.
It was smooth sailing until The Sound of Freedom came out.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Painting them in a bad light.
You know what I love, by the way. I don't know why this popped into my head. I totally forgot this in the monologue. When that mentally ill Rick guy won a beauty pageant to go compete against actual women, they applauded him as only the second openly transgender participant.
Oh,
Openly, as if we needed them to say openly for us to know, like,
Now I'm doing concern. Like, what if?
No, you can look. You can tell.
Oh,
like he didn't have to tell us for us to know. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's see. Josh Wright writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, with 6 million seeming a little high, what would be a more reasonable number?"
is that like the distance from the sun to the earth?
I think that's how many elephants you'd have to stack on top of each other to reach the moon.
Oh, that does seem kind of high.
Yeah. Did you know that if you stacked every elephant on Earth on top of each other, all the elephants would die?
Oh, that makes sense. The top one just from the fall and the bottom one from the weight. Okay.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Josh, yeah, it's ridiculous. Don't listen to their lies. D3 writes, "Dear Alan and Dad, what is your opinion of Crocs?" Oh, God. What do you think of Crocs?
I've never actually owned a pair.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of want to try them because I'm always looking for a nice house shoe, something to wear around the house, but you can off-road it every once in a while if you have to like run the trash out real quick or something. And like the big puffy teddy bear slippers don't fare well outside.
Well,
But it's hard to find a size 15.
You're a man in the later half of life. You should have a good pair of loafers by now.
I mean, I've gone through some real nice slippers.
Mm-hmm. No. Okay. No. Men wear loafers. Women wear slippers.
Cool. Okay. That's why I call them house shoes.
So every time you put on Mary's slippers and run the trash out and think, man, these just don't do anything for me, that's why. All right. Now you know. No, Crocs are retarded. Every time I see somebody wearing Crocs, I just want to stab them in the throat.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Hope this helps, D3. And right now he's got his Christmas list and he's marking out Crocs. Oof.
Don't want Alan says no.
All right. Aaron Kittner writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, what are the most comfortable shoes you've ever owned?" What's wrong with our audience and having themed questions? This week is shoe week, apparently.
It's a foot fetish week.
Yeah. Speaking from experience on that, or?
No, it's just a podcast I was listening to was actually about a
those are the kinds of podcasts you listen to.
It's true crime.
It's not a crime.
Well, he would cut people's feet off and keep them.
Okay, that's a crime.
Yeah, they frown on that.
Well, what if they were diabetic?
Oh, they weren't using them anyways.
Yeah. Well, they can't. I mean, they're going to come off, Like, the most comfortable shoes I've ever owned were probably just, the thing is that you spend a lot of money on like really nice shoes that are supposed to be like contoured and supportive, and then they wear out in like 6 days and they suck. Just some cheap pair of Skechers were the most comfortable shoes I've ever owned.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I actually got a pair of New Balances because I get a shoe voucher from work. They buy our shoes, our boots, and if we don't use up our boots every year, we can use it for whatever we want. And I got a pair like really nice New Balances. They're the most expensive sneakers I've ever bought in my life, and I stopped wearing them because they're uncomfortable, and I went back to my old Pumas.
Tim is making fun of you. He says you got New Balance Basic White.
No, I can't wear white shoes.
Yeah.
That's a scam.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's a combination of all the colors, Dave. Didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because we're the best of everyone and the worst of no one.
Oh.
Yep. So Seth says, "What up, Pendejos? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Quit being dirty. Unclean people. You know who
That's
you
too
are.
south, huh?
Yeah. Now, yeah. Yes. Dave, okay. Just stop it. We don't have time for that. We got too much in tonight's show to go into that about what is the correct and the incorrect parts of the South to be in. I'm from the South. They're from.
Yeah. I hear
down there.
Florida's weird south. Like,
Well, Florida's not the South, dude. Florida's.
there's like a part. Isn't there like a part of Florida that's the South, and then
Okay, so northern Florida is basically just Georgia, and central Florida is just mouse pedophile nightmare zone, and then South Florida is like Cuba.
Yeah.
And so that's not the South. So northern Florida is the South, but the rest of Florida is
it's another country.
it's totally another place. Andrew Avery writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, if you promoted the health benefits of dried grapes, would you be raising awareness?"
Are they good for you?
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of sugar.
Yeah. I don't know. The only raisins I get are raisin cream pies. You ever been raisin cream pies?
I've done a few.
All right. Eric Eli writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, is it possible that Hunter Biden is actually..." Okay, we're just skipping that. Eric, we don't do that shit in viewer mail. What the fuck? You heckin' hecker. We're not talking about Hunter Biden.
Maybe
All right.
Call him out on the show.
Yeah.
Why do you
All right,
yell and yell at you?
Yeah. Yeah. Dave knows. Yeah. He's still recovering from the commercial break.
That's pretty rough.
Jonathan Carranza writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, have you ever had to clean skunk spray off of a dog?" Oh.
Oh.
You ever had a family pet get skunked?
No, but this one time we were on the interstate and there was a fresh dead skunk like right in our lane. And it was one of those things where it's like, don't run over the dead skunk, don't run over the dead skunk. And then my tire went right over it. And for like a week, I had to wash that car like 4 times. And just the whole cabin was just skunk.
Yeah. I didn't even realize y'all had, like, do y'all have a lot of skunks up there? Is that a...
Yeah, we got skunks. We had one that he would hang out in the front yard when I'm leaving for work every morning, which I didn't like because it's still like dark out.
Yeah.
And I can smell him. And it's not like he's sprayed. It's just that low odor.
Mhm.
You know, there's a skunk around.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid I'm going to startle him or something.
Yeah. Well, you know what he's doing there. He's looking to rape Simon.
Oh.
Yeah. Haven't you seen Looney Tunes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
See, when we were kids, we had great cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't get that. Yeah, they all, because of course, my favorite was Foghorn Leghorn, which taught you that if you're from the South and you're loud, you can just take a piece of wood and just beat the shit out of people you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to listen to your wily Southern wisdom. And then you have Pepe Le Pew, which teaches you don't get raped.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Be a difficult rape. Word will get out.
We'll revisit that later. My God. Justin Campbell writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, could either of you win a beauty pageant? And if so, what state or country do you think you'd win in? Sincerely, Feeling Pretty in Indiana." I'm going to say no, but apparently the Dutch are into that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my calling.
Yeah. I don't know. See, that guy, he clearly has starved himself to try to give himself a more femininely figure, but got bad news for you, dude. You either got the hips or you don't, you know?
Yeah. The hips are everything.
Yeah. In fact, I just listened the other day. I listened to this awesome Dave Chappelle bit where he was talking about this. It was a trans man, so it was a mentally ill woman, and so it was a trans man, and she had clearly taken a lot of testosterone, like if you're a woman and you grow a full beard, they've been pumping you so full of drugs that it's amazing. So this woman had a full beard from all the testosterone and was just jacked, just shredded. And he apparently was at some type of an event or something, and she came up to his table, and of course he's like, well, it looks like a man because he's just shredded, But then when he got up to the table, he looked down and of course Dave Chappelle said, "That is some gorgeous hips, nigga," because he realized that was not a man, it was a woman. All right, I'm sorry. Anyway, Tim Weissong writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, E.T. sold out for a handful of Reese pieces. What would it take to coax you away from your spaceship in a similar situation? Me and Dave will sell out for, what, $200 for the Taco Bell tier list?"
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everything on the menu.
Yeah, I think if you guys could finish our Taco Bell tier list fundraiser tonight, then yeah, we're covered. I think we're good.
Or even a sack of those cheeseburgers. What is that? The White Castles or whatever we're supposed to do.
Crystal. Yeah.
Crystals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
I love cheeseburger.
Yeah. There's White Castles, but then if you believe in states' rights and the Confederacy, it's crystals. Yeah.
So the White Castle's a little commie.
Yeah. Yeah. The White Castles jail journalists who are critical of the regime. Very anti First Amendment.
Wow.
And
but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Yeah. Yeah. But Crystals believes in the sovereignty of the individual.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
That's brave.
Mm-hmm. And stunning. Actually, Tim, I've actually told people forever, if we ever got to where we were getting $2,000 a month in donations, Patreon, whatever, then that would be it. I would just do the show. I'd do the show 5 nights a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you imagine? You couldn't imagine. Yeah. You're imagining it right now. I'm looking at your face. That's why you're in stunned silence. All right. Brian Johnson writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, if you see someone you know while picking something up at the store, do you greet them or hope they didn't see you?" Ooh. Dave, you're running down the
other day.
Oh, okay.
I work with that guy.
All right. So, yeah, I knew it. I knew that's what your answer was going to be, is you just drop your shit in the aisle and leave the store. Yeah.
It's gonna be awkward. Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Just leave. Just go back home when Mary says, "Hey, did you get the milk?" Say, "No, I didn't get anything. Leave me alone." Just
someone I knew had to leave.
Yeah. And then just float around in the pool for a few hours and just
with my claws on my floaty. Yeah.
All right. Honestly, I mean, it depends on who it is. I mean, like I feel like I know people well enough to know whether or not it's going to be a friendly passing or an encounter. If it's the kind of person that I know this is going to be an encounter, then I go the other way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ryan Seifert writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, what is the shittiest job you ever had?" Dave, what's the shittiest job you ever had?
Where did I work? I don't know. The only place I think I've worked is... Oh, I worked for GTE, now Verizon. And I was a large business support center, call center guy as a temp.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that job. And then I realized I hate talking on the phone and I hate getting yelled at. And that was my job, was people yelling at me over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I was really good at it, but I hated it. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I could see that. When I was a senior, in high school, I had a job at Sears. Remember Sears? Yeah.
I love Sears.
So I was the guy that was asking people, "Hey, are you going to put this on your Sears card? You don't have a Sears card? Well," and you just flop
10
out
minutes,
this giant, yeah. Because back then you had the freaking like
Filled
registration thing that was this freaking big. Yeah, it was a tablet it was a tome that they had to fill
No, it's
out.
fine. Everybody else will wait. You go ahead and fill this out.
Yes. Excuse me, sir. They're filling out for a Sears card. We all have to do it. Yes. The great thing was too is that if you have a random array of different young people working registers and like tidying up their departments, and you have like, you have electronics and you have tools and whatever, because how Sears was. Where do you think that they should put like a young man, like an 18-year-old kid, versus like, the sweet young things like the pretty little girls? Because I was naive. I thought that the young girls should be in women's, selling the giant ass bras to the fat diabetic women, and that the young dude like me would be like in tools.
Yeah.
No. They put the cute young thing in tools because then the dudes will go and buy expensive shit, and they put my bitch ass over in women's. So that's what I did. I ran the register in women's during the week between 5 and 9 until I said, I can't stand to look at another one of these fucking whales. I'm going home. Yeah. Yeah, soft lines. There you go. That was me. That's where they put me. I think they were trying to get me to quit. It's like, well, why don't you just fire me? Just do it.
Sense.
Just pull the plug on this whole thing. Yeah.
They didn't want to pay you unemployment.
Unemployment from my 16 hours a week at Sears. Jesus. All right. And finally this evening, Mary Lynn Willimowski writes, Dear Alan and Dave,
Oh.
would you rather have carpeting in your kitchen or your bathroom?
Oh. Oh, well, that's a good question. It's terrible.
Yeah, but like, what's the motivation for this question? Like, where'd this come from?
I don't know. I've seen pictures. They used to carpet bathrooms. Everything was fluffy.
I've been to hotels where the bathroom had carpet in it.
Why? I mean, I know why, but just the maintenance. You gotta stay on top of it.
Because they just carpeted the whole floor. That's why. Because they were
They have
like,
the toilet seat thing.
yeah, I don't know. God, honestly, I think I actually am gonna pick the bathroom. To be honest with you, I think I would rather carpet the bathroom than the kitchen. I'm not gonna carpet the kitchen.
Could you imagine though, like in the middle of the night, you get up to pee and you don't have to walk on the cold linoleum or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can just stand there running your toes through the carpeting. It'd be kind of nice. I ain't cleaning it up though. Somebody else can run a shampoo there.
It only works. It only works for people who they have it together. You know what I mean?
Good
like,
shave. Yeah.
Yeah. like if you're gonna have a bunch of sick kids and whatever other activities in the bathroom, then you can't do carpet.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, did you see that just now? I'm going to go ahead and read that. So Seth says, bathroom for sure. I spill all the time when I'm cooking, but I almost never accidentally shit on the floor.
Almost never.
That's actually a good point. So Seth's got it right. Mary, I'm going with bathroom, so send your contractor over. We'll get it arranged. Guys, we're going to be back to talk about what an absolute cluster this past week has been right after this commercial break. Don't go away.
Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. Email us at info@alanmosley.tv.
That's better. I didn't like it. I didn't like it when you were actually on time.
Okay.
So yeah, I like that more.
So I got the timing. Now I need to work on the itself. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you've got to channel your inner shaft.
Okay.
You ever had a inner shaft?
Oh goodness.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I mean, it's not a curse word though. It didn't even have to say heckin'. All right.
There was nothing wrong with that.
So, people who might have seen in the news this past week, the Biden administration made a big announcement. Check this out. It was over on July 7th. They're going to be sending cluster munitions to Ukraine, fulfilling a request that Kiev called crucial for its counteroffensive against Russia. Cluster bombs. We're going to give them cluster bombs now. Now we'll dig into that a little bit here in a second. I've got some excerpt from an article that I want to read talking about that. A lot of people have made a lot of hay about the fact that, of course, cluster bombs are horrific, and they tend to be particularly devastating to civilian populations. There's over 100 countries have signed a treaty banning the use of cluster bombs. Now, I know it is true that neither Russia nor Ukraine signed said treaty. But if we're sending cluster bombs to Ukraine, knowing full well how terrible they are, then the first question obviously is, why would you do such a thing? The second question is wait a minute, why are we sitting on so many of them?
Yeah, why do we?
Right? It harkens back because as soon as I heard the announcement and I saw people making that point, the very first thing that popped in my mind was, well, yeah, we feel the same way about chemical weapons too, except for when we sent all those chemical weapons to Saddam Hussein to use against the Iranians.
No.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you chemical weapons are terrible. Here, you take them, Saddam. It's like,
you're a terrible person. You go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead. Wait. Just oops! Oh, we dropped them in your country. Sorry. We better not use them. You know. So anyway, just to really drive that point home, there was a little bit of something I wanted to read through here. So this is an article. The U.S. promised Ukraine cluster bombs, and in Laos, they're still killing civilians. This was written by Pulitzer Prize winner Louis M. Simons, who is the author of the book To Tell the Truth, My Life as a Foreign Correspondent. I want to read through a little bit of this. You're going to get a little history lesson. They look more like toys than weapons of death and maiming. Bright yellow, red or black, some resemble wiffle balls, other miniature windmills, robots, and transformers. They're too tempting for any girl or boy to ignore, let alone kids from isolated villages in the hinterlands of a country where nearly 3/4 of the population live in grinding poverty. That country is Laos, and the illusory playthings are cluster bombs. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the CIA paid mercenaries and U.S. Air Force pilots who dropped them from the sky had their own warm and fuzzy names for their deadly cargo. They called them bomblets or bommies. Bommies!
Oh,
yeah.
Just dropping a few bombies.
Yeah, just got a little payload of bombies. Ever had to drop off a payload of bombies, Dave?
Oh.
I used to schmooze with some of those CIA flyers at the White Rose, a riotous bar and brothel in Vientiane, the capital city, where they drank and danced with naked prostitutes. Many of the swaggering, close-cropped Americans who towered over their diminutive Lao women were weighted with thick 24-karat gold chains slung around their necks and wrists. Should they ever be captured by bad guys, they crowed, they'd buy their freedom with the gold. The pilots in their AC-130s and B-52s had dual mission. First and foremost, intercept communist North Vietnamese troops and material traversing the so-called Ho Chi Minh Trail, snaking through the thickly forested mountain redoubts of Laos into South Vietnam. Second, crush the indigenous communist force. The Pathet Lao, most camped around the Plain of Jars, located where the trunk of the palm tree-shaped country meets the crown. There, beginning 3 millennia ago, local inhabitants entombed cremated human remains in the thousands of massive stone jars, some as tall as 9 feet, which still poke from the flat landscape. 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson ordered the bombing of the area to begin and named it Operation Barrel Roll. That sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Operation Barrel Roll.
Yeah.
But to Americans on the ground, the campaign quickly became known as the Secret War. Why? No secret at all, though, that the United States never declared war on Laos. Imagine that. We bombed somewhere where we didn't declare war.
That used to be a problem.
For that matter, Washington didn't declare war on North Vietnam either, preferring to downplay the fighting that took the lives of 58,200 Americans and as many as 3 million northern and southern Vietnamese as a police action. Diplomatic relations with Laos, though certainly strained, never were broken. The U.S. Embassy remained open throughout. Imagine being an embassy worker and living in the embassy while your country is cluster bombing their civilians. My God. Between 1964 and 73, the Americans flew 580,000 bombing runs, according to Defense Department figures. 580,000. That works out to almost incomprehensible one plane load every 8 minutes for nearly a decade. One bomber dropped cluster bombs every 8 minutes for 10 years in their country. A country that we weren't even at war with.
No, it was a police action, right? Was that?
Well, the police action was in Vietnam. We weren't at anything with Laos. Yeah.
No.
By the time of the last sortie in April 1973, Pentagon statistics reveal U.S. aircraft had dumped 2,093,100 tons of ordnance on the landlocked country, which is about twice the size of Pennsylvania, with a population then under 3 million. To this day, Laos remains the most heavily bombed country in the history of the world, more than Japan, more than Germany, more than Britain during World War II. By the time the 3 former Indochinese states, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, were seized by communist governments, 200,000 civilians, 1/10 of Laos's population, had been killed. 50,000 of the civilians were victims of cluster bombs. What makes the cluster bombs in Laos particularly insidious is that the vast number that didn't initially explode remain deadly all these decades later. Because the bomblets are designed to blow up just before hitting the ground, very little pressure or movement can explode a dud instantly. An estimated 80 million, over 30% of those that were dropped, failed to detonate. The weapons President Biden has promised Ukraine supposedly have a much lower dud rate, as low as 2.35%. Less than 1% of the dormant bombs have been cleared since the war ended. That was 1973, by the way. About 20,000 civilians have been killed since then. Since then. Even as the numbers gradually decline, thousands continue to be killed, crippled, and disfigured. Half the victims are children. I visited Laos for the first time in that particularly tickle you, Dave? Fuck them hoe-ass kids, am I right? All right. I visited Laos for the first time in 1967 while based in Saigon as a neophyte war correspondent for the Associated Press. Attempted to get my bearings and spent most of the weekend-long visit in the capital interviewing government officials and some of the American diplomats who selected bombing targets on maps behind the fortified, windowless walls of the U.S. Embassy. Full disclosure, downing my share of beers at the White Rose. On later visits, I wandered farther afield. In the tiny village not far from the Plains of Jar burial grounds, ground zero of the day, I met children and their parents who had survived bomb drops, only to be grievously injured by inadvertently stepping on or digging up unexploded bomblets. Running along a dusty red road through a tiny village were 5 boys, who, spotting my foreign face, came to a sudden noisy halt. I spoke through an interpreter to a small, dark-skinned boy whose left arm ended just above the elbow, and whose left eye socket was sealed shut with pink scar tissue. His name, he said, was Nye. He was 7. Like nearly all the children in the village, as well as most of the adults, Nye said he regularly scavenged for chunks of metal to be melted down and recast as useful objects. Spoons were a favorite. Everyone knew that the recovery work was dangerous, he said, so we take care. But no matter how careful, accidents happen. His had occurred 2 years previously. I was scraping away the dirt around a metal ball with my fingers, and it exploded in my hand. He turned to his friends. One had a spider's web of thin scars across his face from cheek to cheek. Another was missing 4 toes from 1 foot. He must have been diabetic. One more pulled up a dirty singlet and showed me vertical rows of scars on his concave belly. Nye returned his one-eyed gaze to me and laughed. The boy shrieked hilariously and ran off. Life goes on.
Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
You know what those kids needed? They needed some Tennessee hot sauce, which you can find at tnhotsauceco.com. If you use promo code It's Too Late, you get 10% off your entire order. That's tnhotsauceco.com. I've actually got some right here. If they had just smeared some of the garlic habanero on those wounds, they'd have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would have.
Back.
They would have felt alive. Anyway, that's TN Hot Sauce. No, it's too late. You fucked it. It's tnhotsauceco.com. Promo code. It's too late. As a quick aside, in 2016, Barack Obama visited Laos. He pledged $90 million to a 3-year U.S. Laotian project to clear the tens of millions of unexploded bombs. Oh, yeah. 7 years later, the clearing operation drags on. According to munitions experts, it would take at least a century to complete.
Yeah, that's a lot of bombs.
That's a lot of bombs. So just to prove it was no fluke, we're going to give them to the Nazis in Ukraine.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it wasn't us that dropped them this time, right? So if the deal goes through, we can all be sitting here 20 years from now reading news reports about how random children in the Donbass are having their arms and legs blown off. And you can thank President Biden.
Yes.
That makes you look like a super villain when you do that.
Yeah.
He's gone now. Yeah.
Oh, he's not. He's
demanding
attention.
Oh, no. Grab him back. I want people to enjoy what I got to saw, which I'm sitting here talking about blowing up children, and you're petting your evil cat and saying, yes. I can't even get there in time. Oh, what the hell? What the hell was that? Here we go.
Not so easy, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's because someone's supposed to do it for me.
I was petting my cat.
All right. I was going to do this whole big thing of like, imagine if it were your kids or whatever, but don't do that.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Of course, I wouldn't hand out cluster bombs either.
No, I wouldn't drop them on, anyone. Well,
yeah.
maybe Washington, D.C., but like, oh my God, what if they dropped a whole bunch of cluster bombs on Washington, D.C., and then it just wasn't safe to inhabit for a century, and so they all had to,
go get real jobs.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. My producer said that, you guys, live on television. He said, I wish they would cluster bomb Washington. He said that. I
feel like I didn't.
But I feel like you did. All right.
I identify as nuts.
Guys, we're going to be back after this commercial break with a little bit of a musical guest. So stick around for that. We'll be right back. It's Too Late with Alan Mosley is proudly supported by Fox & Sons Coffee. Fans of It's Too Late use code ITL and receive 18% off orders of $25 or more. Shipping's always free on orders over $37.99, so get yours today at their website, which is www.foxandsons.com. It's www.foxandsons.com. Don't forget, a good time to start something new. I mean, I've never cluster bombed anybody, so that would be new for me. It's a good time. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? Yep. Tim says, Aaron, how do I contribute to the Taco Bell mukbang? Aaron, hit him with the links. There you go. Boom, nailed it. Yeah. We have a musical guest this evening. By we, I mean I'm playing it illegally on the internet because, you know, like, do you remember that clip from last week where I said, "Hey, this is Dave on the 4th of July," and it was the dude on the boat with the. We got dinged for that on YouTube. Yes. Yes. And so you know what that means we're going to do this week? Is more of the same. Yes. So this is my absolute favorite rendition of Georgia on My Mind. Georgia on My Mind, my absolute favorite rendition. This is from Robbie Bodos and the Robbie Bodos Trio as a tribute to the late, great Oscar Peterson. Here, take a look. Mm-hmm.
If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley.
Like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Alan Mosley TV. You can follow me on Twitter. It's twitter.com/Alan Mosley TV. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/Alan Mosley TV. Also, we're on Spotify, iTunes, Google, and more. Thanks to Spotify Podcast. You just search "It's Too Late with Alan Mosley" or Alan Mosley TV. So basically, we're just talking about Robert because he's the listener and not the watcher. Dave, do you have a final thought?
Yeah, I mean that was a fun show. Cluster bombs are bad. I learned that. So that's,
Okay.
It's important to remember.
But
I don't want to.
I don't know. You had some giggles there when we were talking about all the maimed kids.
Oh no, I was thinking about something else. Why isn't that button working?
I don't know, because you don't deserve it. I don't know. Are we doing an after party?
I mean, real quick.
Yeah,
If we do.
Yeah.
Pretty tired.
I mean, we're pretty much just trying to raise money for the Taco Bell tier list at this point. By the way, thanks, Tim. Tim put us $20 closer. Guys, thanks so much for watching another episode of It's Too Late, and we will see you next week. Yeah, take your time, Dave. Jesus Christ.
Because the ending, I was on the wrong. That's why my button wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
On the wrong screen.
I could produce the show or I could watch it. I can't do both.
I started watching. I was enthralled.
They've gotta identify that woman on the plane. I just want her to come live with me.
Yeah. Train you.
More like drain me, am I right?
Man.